Okay, this lesson is going to be about matrices. And what we've got here is one big giant matrix. That's a good movie. Woo. All right. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to fill our matrix here with some numbers. Let's say 1, 2, 7, 5, 9, 4, 6, 3. Lastly, 3, 8, 2, 7. Try to organize them as much as possible. See these rows and columns. So every single number I just put in here, this one or this one, these are all called elements. These are elements inside the matrix. And now, like I said earlier, we have some rows and columns here. Well, these are our rows. So I'd say here I have 3 rows. And these are our columns. 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So I'll write here 4 columns. So that's important because this helps us write the order of our matrix, So here, the order of our matrix is just saying, okay, how many rows and columns do we have? We have 3 rows and 4 columns. You see the order I did it in? RC, rows by columns. And to help you remember that, I like to think of RC Cola. RC, rows, and then columns. So now what we're going to do is, we have some matrices here. We're going to add and subtract them. We're going to see what happens. How do we do that? Well, adding and subtracting is pretty straightforward. It's just straight across. So we like this plus that, and it would be this plus that. So you just right across the corresponding element. So if I want to add these matrices, I'll get 2 plus -1. That would be 1. -3 plus -5 is -8. -4 plus 3 is -1. 2 plus -2 is 0. And that's okay. You can have zeros in your matrices. Now subtracting, same exact thing. I can do a different color for fun. 2 minus -1. Oh, negative makes it positive. So it's actually 2 plus 1. So I'll get 3. And then -3 minus -5. That's -3 minus -5. That makes it a positive. So -3 plus 5 will give me a +2. -4 minus 3. That'll be -7. And then 2 minus -2. So 2 negatives makes positive. It's +4. All right, so now this last one, you see it's all by itself, but I wanted to show you something. If I put let's say a 3 right here, like that, 3 times that, this is called scalar multiplication. Scalar multiply. What that means is I'm taking this integer here and I'm just distributing it all over the elements, everywhere. So here and here. So what I'll have is, I'll show you here, I'll actually have -1. Whoop. So what I'll have here is -1 times 3. And I'll have -5 times 3. I'll have 3 times 3. And I'll have -2 times 3. And what I'll end up with is -3, 9, -15, and then -6. So that shows the scalar multiplication of an integer throughout my matrix here. And it actually doesn't have to be an integer. It can be a fraction, it can be a decimal, whatever. So now here, we're going to take 2 matrices and multiply them. It's called matrix multiplication. So this is a little bit different than scalar multiply. It's not as easy. So this is a little trick we have to do here. So let me just rewrite this down here like this. Like that. Okay. There's a reason why I did this. I want to do this step by step. So when you multiply matrices, you are going to do the row times its corresponding column. So here, the first part would be, okay, So equals, and when I do that, I'll be finding this part right here for this new matrix. So it will be 3 times 1, 3 times 3 times 2 plus, and then I'll have to do 1 times 1 plus 1 times 1. And like I said, that's going to give me this first element in my new matrix right here in this top corner, left corner. And then what I'll do next is I'll have to do the row again times the next column like this. So I'll end up with 3 times 3 will be over here in this area of the new matrix. It'll be over here in the top right corner. It'll be 3 times 3 plus 1 times 5 plus 1 times 5. Let me make that here. Got it. The next part, I'll be doing this row now. So this row times this column. And in the new matrix, I'll be in the bottom left. So it will be 4 times 2 plus 2 times 1. 2 times 1. And then for the last corner, this row times this column. So it will be 4 times 3. 4 times 3 plus 2 times 5 plus 2 times 5. And so what I'll end up with here is this one will be 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1, which is 7. So this one equals 7. And then 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 times 5. So 9 plus 5 is 14. This will be 14. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 2 times 1. So that's 2. So 8 plus 2. That will be 10. And then I'll end up with, lastly, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 times 5 is 10, so this will be 22. And then so my final answer would be the new matrix. See, the new matrix, 7 up here, 14 here, 10 here, 22 here. All right, now this one. So we're going to use the same guidelines when we're multiplying, but now we need to pay attention to the order. The last one was 2 by 2, so we didn't have to worry, but this time we have how many rows? We have 1, 2, 3 rows, so it's 3 by, and then 1, 2 columns. This one is 1, 2 rows, so 2 by, and then 1, 2, 3 columns, 3. These are our orders. You can only multiply matrices if these two orders are the same. Then your answers are going to be this by this, but the last two. So we know that our answer is going to be a 3 by 3. So again, let's go ahead and multiply. Draw a big matrix here because we have a lot of work to do if it's 3 by 3. So let's go rows and columns. So it's this times that. So 2 times 3 plus 0 times negative 2. Top left corner up here. Then next we're going to do this times that. And it's 2 times negative 1 plus 0 times 4. Zeros make it a lot easier. And then for the last top one, I'll do this row times this column. I'll end up with 2 times 2 plus 0 times 0. 2 times 2 plus 0 times 0. I'll close that up just like that. And I'll continue with the next row. So it'll be this times that. And I'll just continue going this pattern. -1 times 3 plus 4 times -2. -1 times -1 plus 4 times 4 times. And lastly, we'll have -1 times 2 plus 4 times 0. It's right here. Do my last row now. -3 times -3 up here plus 2 times -2. I have this times that. -3 times -1 plus 2 times 4. Lastly, I'll have this times that. -3 times 2 plus 2 times 0. And so this is going to give us our new matrix. Like I said, it should be a 3 by 3. So the first one, 2 times 3 is 6, plus 0 is 6. 2 times -1 is -2, plus 0 is -2. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 0 is 4. -1 times 3 is -1, plus -8 is -9. Sorry. -1 times -3. Sorry, -1 times 3 is -3. -3 plus -8 is -11. -1 times -1 is 1, plus 16 would be 17. And then -1 times 2 is -2 plus 0 is -2. -3 times 3 is -9. -9 plus -4 is -13. -3 times -1 is 3. Plus 2 times 4 is 8. 3 plus 8 is 11. And then -3 times 2 is -6. Plus 0 is -6. And so we end up with this 3 by 3 matrix, just like we said it had to end up like this, 3 by 3. Now lastly, okay, these can get a lot bigger and it's a lot of work. So when you have something bigger than a 2 by 2, use a calculator. So I'll get out my calculator here. Here it is. So we want to put our matrices in the calculator. And the way we do that is we're going to do second, and then you see right here it says matrix, matrix. Go to edit, enter. So we're putting in a 3 by 3. So 3 by 3. And then we insert our values. We have 2, 0, -1, 3, 5, 2, -4, 1, 4. Now we go back to matrix because we have a second one. I'm going to put that one in matrix B. Here, edit. It's also 3 by 3. And we have 5, 1, -2, -1, 0, 4, 2, -3, 3. So we're going to quit that, and then to multiply them, I just go back to second matrix. I can click, oh, number 1 is A, times second matrix. Oh, number 2 is B. Enter. There's my nice, beautiful matrix right here. So one last thing that should be noted is that multiplication is not always commutable over matrices. And what that means is if we switch A and B, we don't always get the same answer. So for example, I'll do that here. Matrix, I'll do B times A, B times A. There we go. And if I press enter, you see I don't get the same thing. So matrix multiplication is not always commutable.